Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of North Tyneside Council Cabinet, which is the third virtual Cabinet meeting following the recent introduction of regulations to allow remote meetings in the light of the current coronavirus pandemic. My name is Norma Redfern, and I am the elected Mayor for North Tyneside, and I will be chairing this Cabinet meeting. I'd like to inform everyone that this meeting is being live streamed on the Council YouTube channel to enable the public to observe the proceedings, and I welcome anyone who is watching. Before we go on to the main agenda, I would like to make it clear who is participating in the meeting and explain how we intend to conduct the meeting. In order to check who's in the meeting, I would like to ask everyone present to confirm their attendance at the meeting. And first of all, I will call out the names of each Cabinet member. After I call your name, please turn on your microphone and camera and introduce yourself, stating your portfolio area. And the first councillor is Councillor Bruce Pickard, and he's our Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm the Deputy Mayor, and my portfolio includes regeneration, planning, and business and economic development. Additionally, on the internal council functions, I'm also responsible for the delivery of the investment programme, IT, HR, and the capital contract.
Now can I call upon Councillor Gary Bell to introduce himself?
Good evening, my name is Councillor Gary Bell, and I'm the portfolio holder for adult social care.
Thank you. And now Councillor Carol Burdis.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Councillor Carol Burdis, Cabinet Member for Community Safety, Community Engagement, Comms and Media, and also the Community and Voluntary Sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Ken and Steve Cox, our Councillor for Cabinet Member for Housing, is having difficulty to get into the meeting. No doubt he may join us later. Councillor Sarah Day, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Hello, yes, my name's Sarah Day. I'm Cabinet Member for Culture, Leisure and Sport.
Thank you. Councillor Peter Early.
Hi, I'm Councillor Peter Early. I'm the Cabinet Member for Children, Young People and Learning.
Councillor Margaret Hall.
Hello, I'm Councillor Margaret Hall, Cabinet Member for Public Health and Wellbeing.
And Councillor Carl Johnson.
Good evening, I'm Councillor Carl Johnson. I'm the Cabinet Member for Environment and Transport.
Thank you, councillors. I'm now going to ask the officers in attendance to introduce themselves. And after I call your name, please turn on your microphone and camera and introduce yourself. Mr. Paul Hanson.
Hello, I'm Paul Hanson. I'm Chief Executive of North Tyneside Council.
Mr. Bryn Roberts.
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Bryn Roberts. I'm the Head of Law and Governance for North Tyneside Council.
Mr. Phil Scott. Is Mr. Scott having difficulty to get through? Wendy Burke.
Hello, I'm Wendy Burke and I'm Director of Public Health.
Janice Gillespie.
Good evening, Mayor. I'm Janice Gillespie. I'm Head of Resources and Chief Finance Officer.
And David Brown.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Brown from Law and Governance.
Yvonne Harrison.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Yvonne Harrison from Law and Governance.
Mr. Kevin MacDonald.
Well, good evening. I'm Kevin MacDonald, the Acting Chief Internal Auditor from the Internal Audit and Risk Management team.
Thank you. And Vicky Nixon.
Good evening, I'm Vicky Nixon, Senior Manager for Participation Advocacy and Engagement, standing for Jackie Lawton.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm now going to ask the young Mayor and our partners who are in attendance to introduce themselves. And after I call your name, please turn on your microphone and camera and introduce yourself. Susie McKenzie.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Susie and I am the current Young Mayor of North Tyneside.
The wonderful young Mayor, Susie, the wonderful young Mayor, right. Robin Fry. know Robin's with us because I saw him on camera before. Well, Robin Fye is from the voluntary sector. David Bavard. David.
Hello, I'm David Bavard. I'm representing the North Tyneside Business Forum.
And I think Roger Layton, has he been able to join us?
Madam Mayor, we've got apologies from Roger Layton, from Janice Hutton and from Dawn McNally, our other partners.
Thank you very much, David. That's very kind of you. Now then, is there anyone else present who I've missed? Obviously not. Thank you. That's good. Right, I just want to let's get some formalities sorted for today's meeting. For today's meeting, we must first of all deal with some formalities. Apologies for absence, confirmation of minutes, and declarations of interest. I will then ask Susie Mackenzie, our young mayor, to give us an update on her activities. And the agenda papers contain 5 reports requiring decisions at this meeting. And our cabinet will be asked to pass the exclusion resolution to be able to consider agendas items 9 and 10 in private session. And the live stream will be switched off at that point. And I will take each report in turn in the order they appear on the agenda, which has been published on the Council's website. For each report, I will ask the relevant cabinet member to introduce the item. And I will then ask members if they have any questions. And then I will ask if any members wish to make a comment on the report. And then I will ask members to approve the recommendations contained in the report. In terms of the etiquette for the meeting, can I please remind everyone to mute their microphone and turn off their video unless they are speaking. Thank you. And now let us proceed with the meeting. First of all, can I have any apologies for absence, David?
Yes, Madam Mayor, apologies to see from Councillor Glindon. Also, as I mentioned before, from Janice Hutton, Northumbria Police, Dawn McNally from Age UK, and Roger Layton, the Joint Trade Union Committee.
Thank you very much. Can I now ask that the minutes of the last meeting held on the 29th of June 2020 can be agreed as a correct record?
Agreed.
Thank you very, very much. Declarations of interest. Does any member wish to declare an interest in any items of business on this agenda? No? Right. We're now on to our Young Mayor's report, and it's over to you, Susie.
Thank you. Hello everyone, I hope you're all keeping well. I'm continuing to work on my pledge, which I was elected on, to create better support in schools for mental health issues and work on improving and promoting positive mental health and well-being. I'm continuing with my positive messages on social media. I have also been working on and creating a small gift for all young people in school years 7 to 13, which will be given to them on their return to school. The gift consists of a wristband with a positive message and can be used for an activity supporting good mental health. The wristband will be accompanied by a Z-card leaflet, which will include information and activities about what to do to keep good mental health and well-being, and who to contact should they or a friend need extra support. I had a very productive first meeting of a newly formed Youth Mayors Network group. I was expecting this to be a UK group, but amongst the 38 participants, there were young mayors from Holland and Belgium. The group's aim is to support for one another, to collaborate on campaigns that we were elected on, and sharing good practice. One of the first tasks was to agree a new name for the group, which was agreed as the International Youth Mayors Association. We will be meeting monthly. Member of UK Youth Parliament Abby Tang's pledge to reduce North Tyneside's carbon footprint and engage young people in tackling climate change has also meant Abby achieving her aims through continuing to use social media. She has been active in giving out advice to people about how we can all keep North Tyneside looking lovely and enjoy being outdoors. Members of UK Youth Parliament from North East Region have been very encouraging, and the Stockton Member of Youth Parliament has had their own separate meeting with Abbey to see how they can roll out the reuse refill idea. The reuse refill campaign is now spreading across the region, with Middlesbrough and Sunderland also interested in doing this in their area too. Members of Youth Parliament from the North East region are also keen to hold their own meeting with the Carbon Trust, and Abbey is helping to coordinate this with the British Youth Council, with the first meeting to be held in August. We are so pleased to see North Tyneside young people at the forefront of making positive changes in the region, as well as here in the borough. I am continuing to chair Youth Council meetings on Microsoft Teams, and they are going very well. We have around 20 youth councillors regularly attending online, and it's always great to see everyone. We have reintroduced the debate topic, which last time was about online schoolwork versus traditional schooling. We discussed using technology, support from teachers, skills you can learn from online education, creating more independence, and the social aspect. This was an excellent debate with some fantastic points for both sides. Lots of good points about the traditional way of learning and how people felt more supported and focused. Youth councillors were thanked for their involvement in celebrating the NHS 70th birthday. Some NHS staff would like to work more closely with the Youth Council on future projects. The Send Youth Forum has been meeting regularly, and some members are making a film for the local Offa website. So far, it's looking good and it is expected to be finished soon. Some youth councillors met with PhD students from the Open Lab Planning and Architecture Department at Newcastle University to talk about the Metro Future consultation for 2020. Young people were pleased to be a part of the consultation so early in the process. More of our youth councillors and Send Forum members will be giving their views this week. North Tyneside young people are informing how the consultation will operate when the full consultation is rolled out to everyone else in September. Yet another example of North Tyneside's young people leading the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Once again, I just want to say, you had a slow start, remember, when you came to be our young mayor, but you've been making up for that lost time. So well done. And I just want to say, thank you so much for your hard work and your colleagues, really, to be quite honest. We're extremely proud of you and your colleagues here in North Tyneside because you've set the scene. You show us the way forward about how young people can make a difference to their lives in the areas that they live. So thank you so much indeed, much appreciated.
Thank you.
Has anyone else got any comments to make on that report? No, well, I still want to thank you very much indeed, Susie. Thank you, and continue. I'm sure you will continue with it.
I really would like the word, Mayor.
Yeah, Peter earlier. I'm sorry about that. I didn't see your hand, Peter.
I just wanted to thank you for your work on supporting children's mental health. It's something that we're working on with the school improvement team, and we're doing things around providing training for teachers to spot children who are returning to school after being away due to the COVID emergency with mental health problems. But it's great that you're out there promoting those issues with young people as well. So thank you.
Can we ask David Bavard then? He would like to comment. Come in, David.
Can I just say a huge thank you for that, Susie? If ever there's anything that you're doing where you think some input from the business community would be helpful, please do not hesitate to ask. Anne has got the business forum's details. So if for some of your debates or some of your work you're doing, you'd like to have a representative from the business community, please do not hesitate to ask, and please keep up the excellent work you and all your team are doing. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much, David. Anyone else, or can you move on? Thank you, Susie. Well done. We now move on to item 5, which is the financial management report to the 31st of May. Now, unfortunately, Councillor Linden is unable to attend this evening, so I'll take you through that report, okay? I am pleased to present to Cabinet the first budget monitoring report for the current financial year, which reflects the forecast financial position to the 31st of May 2020. We all know that budget monitoring is vitally important. Although this report focuses on the first 2 months of the financial year, it builds in known pressures and mitigating actions to give an estimate of our financial position at the end of March next year. The report has been prepared on a prudent basis, as you would expect. It is crucial that the Cabinet acknowledge the financial pressures being faced, for we do not take account of savings and management until we are assured that, they will be realised in practice. Like all local authorities, North Tyneside Council has felt the impact of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and as such, this report contains considerations to the financial impact the pandemic will leave on the authority. Due to the level of uncertainty of how service delivery will continue to be impacted by COVID, this report is an initial view, and it is expected this will change over the coming months as the response and recovery continue. Like all authorities, North Tyneside is seeing a clear financial impact as a result of the pandemic, and current indications are that the COVID funding received today does not cover all anticipated costs or loss of income, and I think we knew that. Discussions are ongoing at both local and national level around the financing of the residual pressures expected as a result of COVID-19. Taking the general fund first, it is forecast that without further actions, there is a pressure of 12.968 million against budget. Within this figure, 12.060 million is a pressure resulting from COVID-19, and 0.908 million can be considered as a pressure from normal activity. In relation to the pressures arising as a result of COVID-19, the authority has received 2 payments of grant funding from government, a total of 12.531 million, of which 0.733 million was allocated to COVID-19 pressure arising in March 2020. The remaining 11.798 million is being used to mitigate the total COVID-19 forecast costs of 23.858 million, leaving 12.0660 million gap included in the overall forecast pressure. Services have already begun the work to identify options to manage the in-year pressures of 0.908 million to ensure delivery of the efficiency savings targets and once again deliver a balanced budget position at the end of the year. In terms of schools, the total planned deficit for 20 to 21 is 6.689 million. Cabinet will be aware that the authority has been working with schools for a number of years with regard to the long-term strategic issue of surplus secondary places and the associated financial pressures which continue to be compounded by rising employment costs. As anticipated, 2019-20 was the 5th year of balances decreasing, following a long-term trend of rising balances in North Tyneside. And the overall projected balances for 2020-21 continues this trend. As well as school balances reducing overall, some individual schools continue to face significant financial challenges. There are 12 schools with deficit budgets plans in 2020-21, with 7 of these schools continue to be in deficit following 2019-20, and 5 schools that are new to deficit in 2020 and 21. Cabinet will recall that the high needs block ended 2019-20 with a pressure of 4.542 million. Initial forecasting of the budget position for 2020-21 indicates an anticipated in-year pressure of 1.943 million, reflecting a further rise in demand for special school places. The authority is planning for places at the end of 2020-21 to total approximately 786. This compares to a total of 762 places at this point of 2019 to 20. I'm happy to report there are no issues in respect of the HRA with regards to its normal activity, although the service continues to monitor the impact of welfare reform on rent collection. This has, however, identified a potential 1.729 million of COVID-19 related costs. Moving on to the investment plan, details are included in the annex of the projects to be delivered this year, and officers have already carried out a detailed review of the plan, resulting in the proposed level of reprogramming of just over 9.6 million and variations of just under 4.3 million. And Cabinet is advised to approve the recommendations in the report, and these are set out in section 1.2 of the Cabinet report. And I know I have Janice Gillespie with us. If there are any technical questions here that have to be answered. So, has anybody got any question first of all? No? Any comments about this report? Well, can we then agree this report then?
Agreed.
Thank you very much. The next report is financial planning and budget process incorporating the associate engagement strategy. And because Councillor Glendon is not with us, I can actually sort of I'll introduce the report if that's all right with everyone. This report sets out the following: the process and approach to be implemented by the authority for the proposed 2021 to 2025 financial planning and budget process, and the proposed budget engagement strategy to be followed as part of this overall process. We have brought this report a little earlier, as I think it's important that Cabinet are aware of the work completed to date in refreshing the medium-term financial strategy in light of the longer-term financial impacts arising from COVID-19 on both service delivery and local government finance. The budget set in February 2020 for 2020-21 was fundamentally robust, based on sound assumptions and prudent planning. Although it has included the requirement for challenging savings to be delivered across the organisation. That budget allowed the authority to be well positioned to respond to the major challenge of COVID-19. But this unprecedented situation, sorry about that, will eventually have a significant impact on the authority's budget in both 2020-21 and future years. The implications of the COVID-19 response, coupled with continued uncertainty and the further delay of the number of significant planned reforms for local government finance, represent a major challenge for the authority in developing its medium-term financial strategy and the associated medium-term plan. The level of the budget gap to be closed in future years is subject to substantial uncertainty, and there are a number of issues which could have a material impact on the level of resources available to deliver services in the future. Perhaps now more than ever before, COVID-19 has demonstrated the vital importance of setting a balanced and sustainable budget to enable the authority to continue to deliver the critical services which are so important to North Tyneside's people and businesses. In these challenging times, work must continue to build on the foundations established by the 2020-21 budget and to develop the detailed financial plans for future years, which will enable the authority's financial position to be secured. and the provision of essential services into 2021 and 22 and beyond to be safeguarded. Despite the great degree of uncertainty, we think we should continue to develop a long-term financial plan as far as we are able. While North Tyneside Council has a strong track record in achieving savings, medium-term financial planning remains difficult. This financial planning report confirms that we expect to continue to face significant challenges in managing those demand-led pressures. Like many authorities across the country, and we have difficult decisions to make to ensure we can continue to deliver services to our residents while operating within our means. Section 1.5.3 to 1.511 to the report set out our medium-term financial strategy principles for 2021 to 2025, which have been reviewed and updated. In addition to approving the financial planning and budget process and engagement strategy, this report also seeks Cabinet's approval to delegate authority to the Chief Executive in consultation with the elected Mayor, the Deputy Mayor, Cabinet Member for Finance and Resources, the Head of Law and Government, and the Head of Resources to make any changes necessary to the 2021 to 2025 financial planning and budget process. The approach to the budget work with overview and scrutiny will following the same process as 2020 to 21, and officers will meet with Overview and Scrutiny Committee in October to set out the position on the financial plan, explaining the key drivers within that, and take them to the overall approach being taken to consultation. Following publication of Cabinet's initial proposals, a budget study group will consider those proposals and the timetable and approach to consultation, advising Cabinet of their recommendations in early January. The study group will then give further consideration to Cabinet's final proposals once all consultation is completed and in advance of Council receiving Cabinet's proposals. I'm now going to hand over to Councillor Burgess, who will introduce the approach to engagement. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Mayor. This year's engagement approach will be slightly different because of the impact that COVID-19 continues to have on our ability to hold meetings with residents. We will endeavour to offer every opportunity as we have in previous years, and we will continue with the successful residents panel meetings we have held over the last 3 years, albeit with some adaptations to ensure everyone is safe. As you will remember, these in-depth sessions provide residents with an opportunity to gain an understanding of the Council's budget and provide feedback. Residents involved have told us they like the opportunity to talk directly with elected members and officers to discuss the proposals. Any resident can attend these sessions by joining the residents panel, and they will be publicised widely throughout the magazine. Social media and using advertising in a range of council premises wherever possible. If at this point we still cannot have face-to-face meetings, including considering social distancing measures, we will be looking to host these in a different way, such as how we are tonight via Teams. We have started discussions with some of our residents panel and how we can involve them going forward to ensure that engagement is meaningful. We will also continue to talk with our stakeholder groups, both internal and external, such as the NTSP, staff and trade unions. As in previous years, a questionnaire will also be made available online, and we will try to make this available in hard copy in customer first centres where we can, again considering any guidelines for COVID-19. As in previous years, last year's feedback from residents about the way we have engaged was very positive. The face-to-face engagement was well received, with the majority feeling that sessions were well managed, that there was a clear purpose to the consultation, and that sessions had concentrated on the areas that they could influence, and that our feedback to residents have been good. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Carol. I'm now going to ask the Cabinet to agree the recommendations as set out in section 1.2 of the report. But first of all, has anybody got any questions about this report? Any comments? Well, I'm sure we can agree this report, can we?
Agreed.
And it is present. See, I can't say that, but I'll learn to say it. I do apologise for that. Right, we're now on to North Shields Town Centre and Fish Quay Master Plan, and that's Councillor Pickard, our Deputy Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I believe, first of all, we're going to have a quick presentation from John Sparks, who's our Head of Regeneration. So I'll hand over to John first.
Thank you, Councillor Pickard and Mayor. I'll just get up a presentation, if that's okay.
Thank you, John.
I'll share that with you and I shall walk you through the Has that come up yet?
Yes.
Is the presentation there?
Not yet.
Not yet. That should be coming up now.
It is.
It's there now. It's there now. Thank you, everyone. Okay, well, I'll just walk you through what we've been doing and the content of the master plan. And it's fairly straightforward, just a series of projects and some contextual information around that. So, back in 2018, the Cabinet agreed a regeneration strategy and ambition for North Tyneside. And since that time, we've obviously continued to deliver projects right across the borough. But that strategy back in 2018 included the need for work for North Shields Town Centre and Fish Quay. And at its meeting in April last year, on the 1st of April, the Cabinet agreed its approach to the regeneration of North Shields. And importantly, it agreed a set of policy priorities which would shape the next stages of the work, which is what we're here to talk about today. And just to remind you what those policy priorities were, it was about a smaller but more vibrant and connected high-quality town centre combining living, working and retail, family-friendly destination in its own right, but connected to an increasingly vibrant Fish Quay. Both of which would need to be supported by better transport flows and better infrastructure and a better quality built environment. Very important to connect the vibrant Fish Quay, which is supporting, you know, the sort of food and drink offer with the town centre, and how do we get those linked to each other's. Better transport flows and connectivity, making sure traffic flows more effectively, that the metro station's connected. So very much about making sure we've got those strong links in and out of the town centre, but also in and around the town centre. And then finally, a better quality built environment, learning from recent projects, and importantly, setting a high standard of design for materials and future developments. So, what does the master plan do? It provides a framework for regenerating the town centre and Fish Quay through a series of independent projects, which collectively will transform the town centre. It addresses the key challenges facing around the town centre arising from changing consumer patterns and visitor expectations, which again have been all the more heightened through the coronavirus pandemic. It's fully aligned to the objectives defined by Cabinet in April 19. And it's important to recognise as well that the master plan was funded through the North of Tyne Combined Authority, who recognise the importance of North Shields Town Centre to the local and regional economy. So in terms of the study area, we can see there a plan of North Shields, and we can see a red line boundary, and that extends from effectively Smithstock across to the far end of the Fish Quay, up Brewhouse Bank and along Tynemouth Road, taking in the heart of the town centre and the surrounding residential areas. So to deliver the strategy identified in this red line boundary, we've identified a set of key projects, and the important thing is, whilst all these projects have dependencies upon each other and relate to each other, they can be delivered as standalone schemes as and when funding is available. So we've tried to be quite smart in coming up with a series of projects which we can progress. And I'll just walk you through these quickly. Project 1's gateway improvements. Project 2's a transport hub and interchange. Number 3 is a new town square. Project 4 is about Bedford Street and Savile Street, improving the public realm and appearance of those places. Project 5 is about building on our existing activities at Northumberland Square and celebrating the conservation area and the high quality built environment around there. Project 6 is about Howard Street and how we get more cultural activity happening on Howard Street, using the exchange as a platform for that, together with other buildings. Project 7 is about a riverside embankment walkway, that connectivity between the Fish Quay and the town centre. Project 8 includes 2 housing sites, the Tynebrand site and Unicorns House, and Project 9 is the location of the Shields Ferry to the Fish Quay. So moving on, in terms of the gateway improvements, this is about improving the image and quality of the public realm and key gateway sites in the North Shields, and it'll enhance that visitor that experience for residents and those visiting the town. And you know, you don't get a second chance for first impressions, so making sure those first impressions set the right tone in terms of quality of place for our residents and visitors. So you know, it's very much about nailing our colours to the masts. And we can see here we've got 3 key gateways identified. One is around the southeast Fish Quay and Brewhouse Bank, around the Tynebrand site. The second one of these is around East Tynemouth Road and the Law Courts, making sure, you know, where we've got that junction with Linskill Terrace and everything, it all feels a bit lost and forgotten now, making sure there's a strong gateway coming in there. And the third one is West Howden Road, Coach Lane and Savile Street. So what the master plan does, it doesn't actually say what we're going to do in these places. That's for further design work and further development. But it's about putting down a marker that these are the key gateways into the town centre which need further, we need to be sort of developed as part of the master plan. Second project is the transport hub and interchange. Improving the transport offer is a key foundation of the successful regeneration of any town centre, provides customers with an improved quality of service and travel and experience. And by giving access to a high quality public transport network, it's anticipated that patronage will increase and it'll become a far more pleasant experience using public transport. And we can see on this next slide here, where we're looking to develop that is, this is the metro station here. This is currently Railway Terrace and Bedford Street, and this is the Co-op. We'd look at developing the back end of the Co-op building to provide that bus standage, which would then work with the metro station, providing that combined facility. And obviously what goes hand in hand in this is relocating some of the stops within the town centre, as well as the public realm treatments to link this together and make it feel like a single public transport interchange. The next project, Project 3, is about creating a new town square around Railway Street and Niles Street. I think, you know, one of the things common for North Shields and other centres is there's too much of the wrong sort of retailing space. So consolidating and contracting some of that is part of the proposals. And one way to do that would be to take out some of the retail and create a town square. That'll create a focal point within the town centre for events and activities, and it would obviously be serviced in terms of, you know, electricity points, things like that. And it would give the opportunity to, as I say, to sort of bring some life into the heart of the town centre and give a bit of a contrast to the public square we have at Northumberland Square, which is far greener in nature. And we can see there on slide 16 here that we can see the area to be identified. And this is very much about putting this out for consultation, very much about getting the views of people on the proposals, and I'm sure we'll get quite a mixed bag coming back on that one in due course. But this image here, if the computer moves onto it, oh, there we go, gives a bit of a feel of how that could work. And we can see the metro station here. This is the area currently occupied by buildings, and here we can see a redeveloped transport interchange with a covered link taking you through from the interchange through to the heart of the town centre in Bedford Street. And again, this shows how this could work in tandem. We've got Bedford Street coming down here, the Co-op building, the metro. So this kind of shows how this could all work with the bus interchange here. Again, very, very indicative in terms of layouts and, you know, subject to approval. This is about taking it to the next stage of design in the coming weeks and months. Looking at Bedford Street and Savile Street, both of them in need of significant public realm improvements. Project 4 is about improving the quality of the public realm using distinctive high quality design to soften the street scene, animate the spaces, encourage free movement around there, and very much about designing the public realm with an eye on the future, so for events and stalls and things like that, and making sure it's flexible space which not only reflects the quality of the town centre in terms of our aspiration and offer, but also, as I say, provides that opportunity for activity and bringing the town centre alive. And here again, we can see how the public square would link into Bedford Street, and some precedent images as well about there's a view looking up Bedford Street. And one of the things we'd like to do as part of that is to try and green part of the Beacon Centre, pretty much like they've done with the Marks and Spencer building in Northumberland Street in Newcastle. Very much softens down that sort of that sort of brutalist sort of 70s architecture, if you like, and very much about having a dialogue with the Beacon Centre going forward on this. We'd also like, as part of this too, and I'm just trying to get on the next slide now. Oh, it's jumped too far. Sorry about that. I'll have to just give it a minute to catch up with me. Oh, here we go. In the middle of summer, Bedford Street's a lovely, appealing environment, less so in the middle of November. So what this slide shows is some proposals around placing canopies in the town centre and looking at some forms of structure which can provide a bit of shelter, you know, in less nice weather. This also shows bringing some of the shop fronts forward at the bottom end of the Beacon Centre where they're currently set back, trying to bring those forward and give a bit more of an active frontage down Bedford Street. Moving on to Northumberland Square, a great opportunity to invest in the square itself, not losing sight of the fact it's a wonderful Georgian square and as part of the conservation area. You're aware that we're bringing in new houses around Northumberland Square at the minute, and I'm just trying to jump on the next image. It'll get there, bear with me. It's now telling me it's not responding. There we go. And we can see here the new development that we've brought forward at Northumberland Square, and we can see here the square sitting in the middle. Obviously, you know, a range of improvements there, including, you know, better management of the trees and the green spaces. But importantly, we can see here how this can then link in with Howard Street, which is subject to improvements as well. We'll come on to that slightly later in the presentation, but very much about reordering the public space, more pedestrian friendly, while still affording accesses for vehicles, for servicing and for visitors to the town as well. And here we can see how this will work with the Northumberland Square, the library, this run down Howard Street, along Savile Street and back up Bedford Street. We can start seeing the sort of the circuit coming together, if you like, and these key routes being improved through the town centre. But it's not all about bricks and mortar. It's very much about giving the town a new USP. It's about growing talent in the town centre and about new activities as well. Investment in Howard Street through the Heritage Action Zone will create opportunities for new leisure-focused activities, cafes and restaurants, and importantly, cultural activities both in the day and in the evening. So growing that cultural offer based around the Savile Exchange will grow the visitor offer, provide new opportunities for investment, and will also potentially bring new people into the town to access the facilities on offer there. And again, underpinning all of this is about high quality public realm proposals to help achieve these aims. And we can see here on this image here, we can see the Savile Exchange, the business centre, the former Globe Gallery, and this interesting building on the quarter, which isn't in council control, but collectively you can start seeing a bit of quantum here and a bit of momentum if these buildings are certainly the ones we don't own and don't control at the minute. They're brought forward for cultural uses, expand the operations at the Exchange, and look at the business centre as well as a kind of opportunity for cultural and creative businesses. We start getting some traction there, and importantly, that can start being the basis for some strong funding bids going forward. And again, we can see here how this all hangs together with those key buildings, Savile Street, and the improvements down Howard Street as well. We've talked for years about an important link between the town centre and Fish Quay, and I'm pleased to say that this is probably one of the most exciting parts of the master plan. The proposal is to provide a high quality and unique green link between the town centre and the Fish Quay, providing that link between those two economic areas and providing that sort of interplay between the two. Here we can see the bottom of Howard Street with the Stagline building here, and I think it's Tyne Street along the top, and we can see how we can get actually one long gradient getting all the way down almost to Western Quay, which I'll come on to in a little bit in terms of some opportunities there, or a kind of really nice sort of zigzag route going down there. Both trying to achieve this without the need for stairs, so very much about trying to keep this as accessible to all members of our community as possible. And we see on the next slide how that would work in real terms. And one thing which we've tried to do on this is to ensure that there's no trees along Tyne Street obscuring the views from windows, so still trying to preserve those fantastic views out across the river from those houses. Speaking of which, really important to get new high quality housing into the town centre, and we've proved we can do that by our endeavours at Northumberland Square, and what a fantastic product that is. Building on that, we'd like very much to bring in forward some new housing within the town centres. So in terms of what that'll look like, the first site we're looking at is the Tynebrand site. It's a really important gateway into the Fish Quay, currently derelict in multiple ownerships, but the potential for an absolutely outstanding architectural statement there, which will kind of redefine that gateway into the Fish Quay. This shows the extent of the land we're looking at, and it also includes the Horseshoe, where the former fish processing units were, as well as some additional land here, which is in the council has the freehold of. Certainly wouldn't look at any development on the Horseshoe, the former processing site, but we felt it was important to include that as a gateway into the town centre, so into the Fish Quay rather. So it will be looked at in the round, but certainly no proposals to put development on there. And here we'll have a kind of image about how that could look, potentially with some ground floor commercial units with residential above. Unicorn House, former 60s vacant office block with absolutely no architectural merit and little potential for appropriate reuse. Acquired by the council earlier this year with me. The scheme has the potential to include additional land to maximise the residential impact, or rather the regeneration impact. And there we have some images there on how it'll look. And I think, again, the point I would make here, it is not about designed for nowhere, seen everywhere. It's about getting bespoke, high quality designs into the town centre, into our new schemes, which reflect our aspirations around quality of place. And sort of hand in hand with this is one of the things we've been looking at as potentially a design guide for North Shields to help guide and inform those developments to make sure we get the architectural quality we desire. Finally, the relocation of the Shields Ferry. The master plan proposes to relocate that to Western Quay. That will enhance the public transport connectivity into the site, and it'll also help support the long-term sustainable transformation of the town centre. And what we can see here on this little plan is we can see Howard Street. Where my cursor is at the minute, there's that area outside the Stagline building, or the registry office for those who've been married there. The link down, but also we can see how this links straight down into the heart of the Fish Quay. So actually, where we're talking about the new Riverside embankment, that will actually lead down to where the ferry landing is proposed. And we can see here on this plan here some images of how that will potentially look. Very much work in progress, but the secret is to try and get it located far away from the Fish Quay, from the protection jetty in the gut, to enable fishing vessels to park, but not so far up that it constrains any larger vessels entering Tyne Commission Quay. So very much working with Nexus and the Port of Tyne to refine designs on that, and Nexus are seeking funding through the Getting Building Again fund for delivering that. So that's pretty much in hand at the minute. And then finally, no master plan would be complete without full consideration of how people get themselves in and around the town centre and to and from the town centre. So the master plan also includes some commentary around pedestrian cycle movement strategy within the town centre, how we get people around and to and from the Fish Quay and from the surrounding residential areas and public transport infrastructure into the town centre. And we also recognise that there's a need for a vehicle strategy as well. The red routes there are kind of the principal transport routes. The more orangey coloured ones are the less frequently used. But we recognise that it's important to certainly retain private motor car access into the town centre as far as possible, because we have to reflect how people actually use the town centre. And again, here we can see on this about the wider connectivity to the coast, but also further upstream into Wallsend and beyond into Newcastle. So, engagement and consultation. This hasn't been done in a darkened room with towels on our heads. It has been informed, and in 2019 there was a series of discussions with external partners to test our thinking, and that included Nexus, Port of Tyne, Fish Quay Development Company, New River Retail, etc. And we've continued to engage and get the views of the emerging master plan as it's been developed. So we've talked to the Chamber of Trade, the Business Forum, businesses affected by the proposals, New River Retail, Savile Exchange, Nexus and Northumbria Police. And I'm pleased to say that all have been, very, very supportive of the proposals. So in terms of our next steps, subject to Cabinet approval, it's proposed to continue to engage with residents and businesses during August and September for a period of 8 weeks minimum. At the minute, we're very much in the following Cabinet will be in the information giving stage, and we'll start seeking views mid-August and onwards. And following consultation and engagement, and having considered the views which are fed back from stakeholders, residents and businesses, we'll be able to then draft a final version of the master plan for adoption as supplementary planning guidance, which will give it a bit of teeth and a bit of stature as well through the planning system. So just to reflect, 2018, we set out our ambitions for North Tyneside. Since then, we've been building on our successes across the borough and delivering on our promises. And this latest step with the master plan demonstrates our ambition for North Shields, and importantly, it aims to provide hope and confidence in our economic and social recovery from the pandemic. So it's very much taken on a new dimension in the last 3 to 4 months. So that covers it from me. Thank you for the opportunity to present this, and obviously, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you. Have you got any questions for John? Anyone before we go to Councillor Pickard? Yes, David Burrard.
David, you're on mute.
I do apologise. John, we'd just like to say the North Shields Chamber and the Business Forum, thank you for involving us in the consultation from the word go. We are very excited and support the plans, although clearly there will be more consultation that will take place. But we believe this investment in our town will make North Shields a great place to live, work and visit. Sorry, Norma. And just like everybody else in North Tyneside. And it would be remiss of me not to say it. I've been asked tonight to formally put my thanks to John and all his team for the support they've given the business community across the whole of North Tyneside during the pandemic. So John, if you could pass on these thanks to your team, I would be grateful. I've been asked to formally do it tonight.
Will do, and thank you for those words of encouragement and support, David.
Before we go on to any more comments, right, has anybody any questions for John before we go to Councillor Pickard? No? Well, it's over to you, Councillor Pickard.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, John, for that presentation. As you recalled, at its meeting on the 1st of April 2019, Cabinet agreed a report which set out an ambition for North Shields and the Fish Quay. This built on the authority's wider regeneration objectives that were agreed at its meeting on the 26th of November 2018, where it agreed a regeneration strategy for the borough and ambition for North Tyneside. This identified North Shields Town Centre and Fish Quay as a specific priority. 18 months ago, we recognised that the traditional shopping patterns in our town centres were changing. A number of pressures were having a dramatic outcome on town centre business. The challenge of the convenience of new technology, enabling growth in online shopping, the then small-scale introduction of click and collect, and a major shift away from retail to leisure activity. All of these pressures have now been amplified during the present COVID crisis, and there will be no going back on the use of technology or the changes to how we shop. If town centres are to survive, then they must meet the expectations of the consumers and provide a new type of shopping experience. Back in April 2019, Cabinet agreed a number of policy objectives for the North Shields regeneration, and these included to improve North Shields as a residential location of choice and an attractive family-friendly destination, to create a smaller but more vibrant, high-quality town centre, to create a more flexible retail opportunity and to expand the evening and weekend economy, to improve public transport and the quality of walking and cycling connections across the town, including better links to the Fish Quay, and to raise and improve the quality of the built environment and the quality of public space in North Shields, with more of it suitable for hosting events and festivals. Since then, using the North of Tyne 200,000 business case development funding, I have been working with the North Shields Project Group, which includes myself, the Chief Executive and our Head of Regeneration and his officers to prepare this draft master plan. It contains a series of self-contained projects, as you've seen, that can be funded and further developed and delivered as and when the funding allows. The plan reflects the authority's ambitions for the town centre and delivers on the policy objectives which were agreed in April. The report provides background on a summary of the work done so far in developing the master plan and also the progress we've made so far in issues such as the Northumberland Square and the Unicorn House. The subject of this draft master plan being endorsed tonight by the Cabinet is proposed that it is used over the coming months as a basis for consultation and engagement with residents, businesses and stakeholders with an interest in regeneration of North Shields. It is not a final plan, it is a plan to stimulate and help production of debate and consideration of how we move forward. We will report back to the Cabinet on the outcome of the consultation, and once the final master plan is agreed by Cabinet, it is proposed to adopt it as a supplementary planning guidance. Can I ask that the Cabinet approve the recommendations in section 1.2 of this report? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pickard. Has anybody got any questions for Councillor Pickard? Anyone got any comments about this then? Councillor Bell.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to thank Bruce and everyone involved in this. It's I've read it and it's absolutely brilliant, especially the item 7, which is the walkway from the top of Shields out to the fish quay. I mean, trying to connect the two of the ears has been, you know, to have a cable cord or have whatever I have, but it's brilliant because disabled people find it really hard to get down there, and people with young children coming down Bell stairs and all that. So I think it's just a really good master plan, and I look forward to it to being developed, and just shows the vision of this council. Under difficult times, we can still come forward with redevelopment on this scale. And I'd like to thank everybody. That's my comment.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Anyone else got anything to say? I'm looking for hands. No? Well, first of all, I just want to thank John for that presentation. But a thank you to the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Pickard, and the Chief Executive and members of that board for all the hard work that's gone into bringing this master plan to life, to be quite honest. And I know when it goes out for consultation, there'll be lots of comments, but I think there's some great ideas there and well deserved, to be quite honest. I just want to assure everybody that I remember in 2013 when I was first actually appointed as the mayor of North Tyneside, driving around the borough. I always got a very sad feeling going through North Shields. Something needed to be done desperately, but also remember it was just the same in Whitley Bay. Whitley Bay was pretty a derelict place too, and we've done quite a lot of work in Whitley Bay. We've done work in Wallsend, and I'm sure nobody can actually begrudge the work we're going to carry out in North Shields, and it's very, very exciting indeed. And I just want to thank everyone, to be quite honest. And every area in the borough is important to us, to be quite honest. But what we're saying here at the end of the day is about North Shields is a great place to be, David. I agree with you. And we look forward to all the things that are going to happen there, because it seems to me that here in North Tyneside, we are ambitious, we have great ideas, and regardless of the difficult times we're in, I believe working together with the businesses and the residents, this council can produce great things. So thank you very much, and thank you all for that hard work. It's much appreciated. Can we now agree that report then?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. I'm now actually going to ask, to be quite honest, it's item 8, and I have to ask members to agree to pass the exclusion resolution for agenda items 9 and 10 as they contain exempt information.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. That's very kind. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Take care.
Norma?
Are we all away?